Okay, and our next session is going to focus on digital inclusion, and I would like to invite to the stage moderator Georgis Papadakis. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The stage is yours. Please.
Thank you very much. Should I sit here? Maybe, I guess. Okay. So yeah, my name is Yorgos Papadakis. I am the Managing Director of the European Microfinance Network. And I'm not going to take much of your time introducing EMN, the network, to you. You can easily Google europeanmicrofinance.org and you will find more information about the network itself. So we have the actually the privilege and the pleasure to have with us today 4 very distinguished panels, members of EMN, 2 from Romania and 2 from the rest of Europe, meaning 1 EU member state, Greece, and an aspiring EU member state, Serbia. So having that in mind, I would like to call them on stage. Starting, I think it's only fair if we start from those who traveled a little bit further to join us here. We have Slobodan Smilkovic, who is the Executive Board Member for Business Development at 3 banks in Novi Sad in Serbia. Good to see you.
Thank you.
We have Fanis Mesologitis from Natek in Greece. He's the press sales director of Natek in Greece. Fani, welcome. And of course, we have Vlad Mihud, the CEO of Romcom in Romania. Vlad, thank you. Welcome. And I'm not sure if Robert is with us today. Yes, he is. Robert Mafte is the Deputy CEO of Filbo, also from Romania. Welcome. Good to see you. So I was called to, let's say, to moderate a panel that would last 30 minutes with 4 panelists that I think they have pretty much interesting things to say. So it's practically a fireside chat times 4, so it's quite a challenge. So I really hope that all panelists are going to be able to help me and help you be part of the discussion and share some interesting insights about the work. So without further ado, I would like to start with Vlad. And the first question for you, Vlad, is, we know that Filbo is being presented in the Romania... Robert, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Filbo is presented in the Romanian market as a 100% digital microfinance solution, the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. 5 years ago, we launched the Filbo platform.
So the question is, what are the main obstacles that you encountered when launching Filbo as such, as a 100% digital microfinance solution, and whether this came primarily from those people who were not so, let's say, close to new technologies, but very close to funding needs, so they would really like to become your clients?
Thank you for the question. It's a pleasure to be here. So a couple of words about Filbo. We are actually offering microfinance for almost 30 years in Romania. In the last 5 years digitally, but previously in a very traditional way. So we were in the process to see both approaches, digital and traditional. Right now, coming back to digital, so there are some challenges. So first of all, it's digital literacy, or how I think this will be the best name of it. So although we have a very good coverage, mobile coverage in Romania, if we are referring on this particular type of clients, they are not always used to use a technology for their requests. You might think on some small farmers or small entrepreneurs in small cities or in different villages, and they are not always able to go further with the digital process. In order to to help them. We design a very easy to be used, to be accessed process, and we continuously updated the entire process. So this is the main one of the challenge. Another challenge that worth to be mentioned here, it's related with trust. And the way to perceive relationship with the financing partner, which used to be a traditional in-person relation, and even more, not only in person, but within a branch, so within a building. And right now we are changing, we are shifting through to a digital experience, and he could apply from his sofa or from the field when he's taking care of the crops, and the entire flow is completely different. But if we are able to convince them to apply, and we are doing a very good job on that, the entire process for them it's really extraordinary. One number, and that will be the close of my the conclusion of my response. We are either, if we are starting the process via a more traditional way or digital way, because we are doing both ways, more than 90% of the contracts are in the end digitally signed. So although we are starting in a traditional way, we are helping the clients to switch towards a more digital way to go further in the process.
Great. So if I may use one of your words, keywords that I heard from your response, you've managed throughout the process to build this trust that connects you with your clients.
Yeah, and this is, you know, it might be easier if you are in the position to grant them money. So you are not asking.
Yes.
But even that you are offering loans, it's a matter of, yeah, but you know, who are you, why to use this tool and what. But hopefully in the last years, not only in the business, but also in the private individual process, there are a lot of developments that help a lot the entire environment to be more open to this type of solutions.
Thank you. I mean, it was really, really interesting, especially the last part about the 90% signing digitally. And we're talking about people with really not a lot of experience in this kind of operations. Yes, thank you. So I like the word trust because I think this is one of the main obstacles in general when it comes to people coming from a less developed technological background to trust this kind of digital solutions. And I wanted to ask Fanny, since we've discussed this also a little bit in the sides of, before coming here and starting the panel, there is a lot of buzz, a lot of noise about artificial intelligence. You guys at NACTEC, you have been integrating artificial intelligence solutions already to your products. And I wanted to ask primarily up to which extent artificial intelligence is really there, and then whether it really influences the decision-making progress and process when it comes to someone with, you know, who doesn't trust anyone but a traditional banking branch, let's say, to take that leap, because it's not a step, it's a leap, and apply for such a loan digitally. How can artificial intelligence influence that?
So hello on my side. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, George, for the question. AI, indeed, it's a big subject. It's a buzzword, but it's not the solution for everything. So in my opinion, and how we use it in NATEC, is that AI should be used where it makes sense, where it's meaningful. Having AI in everything, it's not feasible, it's not good for business, and it doesn't solve all your problems. We have seen that we can utilize AI, for example, in some anti-money laundering checks to make it faster. So instead of checking 200 cases, we can check 50 cases. We can use AI in terms of insights. So you have a buy now, pay later product or a consumer loan or a microfinance loan. It can give some insights to the applicant that, for example, don't apply for a 6-month loan, apply for a 12-month loan because we have analyzed your spending patterns, your income, your outcome, and it is better if you opt for a longer loan or for a lower installment. So AI can be used strategically both by the microfinance institutions and their clients to give, let's say, educated information to make decisions, but it's not something that will solve all the problems. And it's not something that it should be used every day for all the operations because it can make mistakes. It costs a lot of money to operate. I have seen solutions that they are fantastic in terms of AI. They have explainable AI, they have all the bells and whistles, but they require more computing power than the core. We're talking about millions of euros every year just to keep it running. So it's not something that we have to use it every day. It's here to stay definitely, but it has to be used where it makes sense, where it makes business sense for us as a vendor, for you as a microfinance institution or a bank, and for your customers. And I had a discussion yesterday with a colleague from, sort of a colleague, he's from a bank, and was something interesting. They did a focus group, and a lot of people didn't trust AI to take decisions for them. They trusted as sort of an advisor or sort of an insight, but they wanted the decision to be made either by them or by the bank employee, not by an automated robot. So if you ask me, yes, we use AI, but use it sparingly and use it to the benefit of you and your customer and not just to have a label, I'm doing AI. This is what I believe, and I hope I covered your question, George.
You did, actually you created an additional one, if I may. You mentioned about the costs, something about the costs of AI solutions. How discouraging these costs are currently for you guys at Natec and in general for the sector in order to delve more into artificial intelligence solutions?
Well, I think it's the main obstacle here, and it's not only for us as Natec or for any other vendor, but it's also for the end user. I was reading an article a couple of months ago saying that the biggest challenge for ESG governance and CO2 emissions in the next years, it will be the electrical power needed to operate all the computers to run AI. AI on us, AI on ChatGPT, on anything. So if you ask me, at the moment, until computing power becomes even more affordable and electricity and energy becomes even cheaper, I think it's a main obstacle. If you want to have meaningful AI and fast, the computing power behind it, still it's very expensive, especially for microfinance and for smaller banks. I'm not talking about the HSBCs and Citibanks of the world. Obviously, they can afford whatever they would like. This is my view.
Perfect, thank you very much. I would like to pass the floor now to Vlad. Vlad this time for sure, not Robert. And I wanted to ask you, Vlad, there is a lot of discussion about the future of financial instruments within the European Union, like Easy, Jasmine, and just to mention a couple. And the question is, besides the future of these instruments itself, whether these instruments were integrated into your daily operations to the extent that they could influence a digital application evaluation process. To which extent were they involved, and which extent do they influence this process? And a sub-question to this would be, we are in Brussels, we live in Brussels. I'm talking almost weekly to the European Commission about the future of these instruments. And they are talking, as Robert mentioned before, using the word trust, they are talking a lot about inclusion. So how, the sub-question is how these instruments can, or have already, or can in the future, influence people with less technological expertise to be included in these kind of digital solutions you offer?
Well, I must say that in our case, the InvestEU guarantee instrument, for example, fits very well our profile because we still value the one-to-one interaction and the human touch, if you want. And we're opposite of Philbo. We use digital to get to personal interaction and the traditional way of signing contracts and of issuing loans. So in that respect, we have this guarantee instrument, for example, and we have integrated it in our digital marketing, for example, or our automation processes for scoring and for underwriting loans. And in the same time, again, we end up face-to-face with the client, signing client. Well, we did start using digital signatures as well, but in our case, it's 90-10, with 90% still signing the traditional way. In the same time, the EU guarantee instrument does provide access to funding for additional segments of clients who previously weren't eligible, at least not according to our criteria. And that primarily has to do with access to collateral in our case. So for many, many years, more than 30 years, we issued loans based on real collateral. So these instruments help us increase our outreach and include additional types of clients in our portfolio.
And if I may ask, what is your personal opinion about the future of these financial instruments? Or if you had a message to convey through EMN or through other channels, what would be this message towards the Commission?
Keep doing it. I think it's very helpful. Again, we started 2 years ago using guarantee instruments. Some of our colleagues in the Romanian market have already been doing this for many more years. And it's to be seen for the near future how this balance between digital and traditional will evolve. But regardless of the balance, I believe guarantee instruments and other types of instruments have a place, at least in the Romanian market.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Last but not least, going to the neighborhood in Serbia. Bank is, I think, the only microfinance solutions provider in the Serbian market. There is also some legislative obstacles that do not allow really other providers to be, other than banks, to be present there. I wanted to ask you, I mean, there's a big story, a big discussion about this, the legislative framework in general. I wanted to ask you, you are offering your products to farmers and other, let's say, low digital literacy groups of individuals that they are used to the physical presence, they are used to going to a branch and applying directly there with a personal, maybe counselor or officer for a product. How do you leverage this? How easy it is to make these people understand and eventually trust, I'm going back to Robert's words, that this is also something that could work for them?
Yes, thank you for the invitation to attend this panel with these fellow colleagues. I would just like to put things into a context, as you said, since Bank is a bank, you know, we have quite strong regulatory framework as any other bank almost in the European Union, and we are dealing with, you know, as you said, a very low digital literacy clients, you know, small farmers and entrepreneurs. I would say that since our beginning, we were founded as a startup bank, practically with 5 employees, and you know, we started in an apartment, and now we, you know, don't have ATMs, don't have mobile apps, e-banking, but we can say that we are holding 55% of the market share in farmers and 35% in the entrepreneurs. So when you look at it like this, I wouldn't be the first man to call in digital. But that's something that I want to emphasize, that when people are speaking about digital, they are usually speaking about the front end of the process. But I think, as our colleagues here mentioned, it is very important to understand the business model that you are offering and the preferences of the clients. Therefore, in 2014, we have network of the client advisors who are visiting, clients, is we are also dealing with the trust, When you are a bank, you want to trust, so we are dealing with two kinds of a problem. First, you are a bank, and second, you have digital trust also, so it is not easy to imply some fancy, application to the clients, and they will use it. So in 2014, we introduced tablets to our sales network, which were, linked to our core system, and they provided on-site loan approval, for the clients, and we also put some GPS system on the tablet, so the routes of the client advisor could be the most efficient. So as we speak, we disburse about 3,000 loans each month. On top of that, then we understood the collection of data, consistent data, is very important. So I would say 10, 11 years from that point, we collected, I don't know how many data of the clients, and we developed our own scoring model. What I'm speaking about, because now we have very strong infrastructure, very good underwriting and scoring model that allows to disburse loans instantly. So our farmer can get a loan in 40 minutes to get the cash, not to sign documentation. So I'm saying, how do we leverage technology to serve client? And we also taught, how to deal with signature, because you need to have some app, and clients do not want to, to go to some website, or you're probably dealing with same questions. So what we did, we use familiar infrastructure that is, maybe specific for the Serbia, where digital identity is provided. So we just make a link. So clients are using familiar interface, and they are signing documentation for now. And I must say also, some 80% of the loans are signed digitally with farmers. Those are people who are 55, 60 years old, and they are able to, the application has to be yes, 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 go, go, go. That's simple, We don't have to make a great buzz about the technology, We just need to understand what clients wants, And we were speaking about the digital, what is traditional, what is digital, And one client said to me, because we are doing a lot of interviews to see the preferences of the client, and we were planning to install mobile app, And he said, we don't need mobile app, you need it. Because I'm okay, I'm fine with that to visit bank once time a year, So in order to use digital, you have to understand that. You have to understand the frequency of use. So that's why our model now is, not just working on the field and collecting data and approval loan in giving cash in half an hour, but also we are doing some education, as you said. So for the next loan, client is able to sign the documentation and apply. But not apply like, he will enter some data and access internet. He will just call. Give me 3,000 euro on 6 month repayment, And now, guys, we do it. So we need to adjust to the client market that we are serving. That's why I'm saying, in our case, since we didn't have some big brother around us or big banking group, we have to take it by our own, because we started very small, with very, small capital, and we had to look into the market and to find ways to move things right. So we see technology as as accelerator, not momentum creator. If I have time, I would share some bad experience we had, After,
please do. You would take one of the questions I had for you, but please, yes.
Yes. For example, after the COVID, everybody went crazy about the digital. Digital transformation was the main, subject. And my ears were full. And the pressure from the board. You have to be digital. You have to be digital. I was thinking, come on, we are already digital, but not in the front end. We said, okay, if you think that we cannot do it, we will do it. So we provided end-to-end online loan for retailers. That's something that we do not do so much, maybe 10% of the portfolio. But we were, I must say, one of the first 3 banks in Serbia that did it, just in 4 months. So what did we get? We get a default, because we didn't have a business case around it. We didn't have any competitive advantage. What we did, we bought the technology, So when we realized that, luckily very fast, so we cancel it in 6 months. So don't use technology just for, buzz to spend money, just create a business case and then use the technology to accelerate it. It's not easy, but just pick a need you want or problem. I'm saying to my guys in the company, define me a problem, I will give you a bonus. The problems that we are solving. So that's my thought on that.
Thank you. Being wary of the time, we only have 3 minutes, and I want to be on time as our predecessor, so we need to respect that. I have a common question for all 4 of you, which is actually a very plain question that might come from a person like a farmer or, in general, a low digital literacy person, and that is, even these people are getting bombed, but even also highly educated people are bombarded daily from, I don't know, too good to be true promises to invest their money somewhere, fake websites, all sorts of phishing messages that, they are there simply to take their money from them. And I wanted to hear in a minute for each of you, please, what is, according to you, the best way to tackle this challenge? Because it is a challenge that is there to stay, unfortunately. The banks are trying their best. Fintechs are doing their best as well. MFIs are doing their best. But, there are a lot of people, a lot of your clients that fall victim to this kind of practices. So what can we do? Vlad, please.
My answer is very simple. We have it as a rule within our company to periodically visit our clients in person. And that's the great moment to get to know the client, observe whether they have any issues, where we can help them, maybe give another loan, or ask for references for potential new clients.
Does it work?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Robert.
We have a hybrid approach. For the traditional business, it's like Vlad already mentioned. For the digital approach, although the entire process can be made end-to-end digitally or remotely, it's mandatory that someone from one of my colleagues to discuss with the client. On top of any digital KYC, any type of last development in the KYC or remote identification, someone, either video for digital or directly in person for the others, are discussing with the clients, with the client representative, and we are taking all the discussion around, the loan application only with the administrator, so with the main that take care of that company, and it's a matter of education. So if the first word or the most relevant one on your first question was trust, right now it's about education. So keep on using, for each of us and from the industry point of view, all the possibilities to communicate to the clients that we are not asking some financial details, we are not asking details from their cards, we are not asking their PINs or whatever, but they should be fully aware about, because it's very easy right now. This is the whole trigger. Relying on technology to apply on a loan, it's very, very, very easy. So that's it's even more relevant to spend some time in trying to understand the main behind each and every of those files. And in this respect, as I said, with the entire digital flow, we are having at least a very, very short conversation in which we are only trying to understand a little bit more in a couple of questions about the client and the person that is in front of the screen.
Thank you very much. Fanny?
I won't invent the wheel, so my colleagues here covered me, but I would say train the users. They need to be trained and educated on all the scams that are there. It could be physical education when they visit the branch, when someone from the branch visits them in a farmer, but also digital. We mentioned before phygital. Send emails, do advertisement, tell them what are the scammers, how they can avoid them, what are the tips or what are the things they can notice, the minor details that are there, and they can show that something is a scam and not legit from the bank or the microfinance. So for me, like we train our clients need to train their own clients and educate them about all the pitfalls that are out there. That's my view.
Sort of
Thank you.
like a theory of terrorizing the terrorists.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you. Slobodan.
So he just put the work on us, So it is general, very difficult questions, I cannot say that we have so much success since, as you say, there are a lot of threats, and I say that, 1 million people is, creating laws and 100 million is trying to come around it. So our clients are exposed for sure. And that's why I think it is very important, and that's why the part of our strategy is for our clients to use familiar, secure interface, and that's why we are relying on infrastructure that is provided, by the state. Since they use it, they can solve different kind of services, right? Like the government, so they see that as a safe ground. On the education side, I must say that we have put that in our process, but I can also say that, our people in the bank are clicking on phishing mails. So I cannot say that we are quite successful. It is a difficult question, especially within the elderly population, as, our farmers, entrepreneurs are, quite familiar. So besides education and, safe application, safe ground that they are using, I don't have much to add.
If I may,
Yes.
one comment.
30
At least
seconds.
as important as trying to inform clients is to inform the staff and to keep on trying to, even to test them, to test there were one of our colleagues in the office was the target of one of those external frauders, and we share the entire experience within the company. So it's very important for everyone to be aware that it's not far away from that potential risk.
Great. Well, we are 5 minutes past time. I would like to thank you all very much. Mulțumesc. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Hvala lepa for all your inputs and for sticking to the time, more or less. Thank you also. Apologies for not having time to take maybe a couple of questions. But we can promise as EMN, as the European Microfinance Network, that we will be back in this beautiful event next year, maybe in the main stage, and maybe with a couple of female panelists as well. Thank you very much.